Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Auto Grade Podcast. Today, I have the pleasure of having here Tobi, and today is another episode that I think you guys are going to like. So please take out your notebooks and take down any notes that you like from the podcast. And Tobi, thank you so much for being here. Tell us about yourself.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for having me on your podcast. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. My name is Tobi. I'm originally from Nigeria. 12 years ago, I made up my mind to move to Germany to get my education continued. Basically, I did my primary and secondary or high school education in Nigeria, and then in 2013, I moved to Germany to continue my bachelor's studies. So I came to Germany to study electrical engineering and information technology. I did that for my bachelor's. I did that also for my master's with different specifications. But afterwards, I started working, in sustainable energy industry, and now moved to a different industry. But I just have this passion for learning and for innovation, and that is also what inspired also the other thing I do. When I'm not working as an engineer, which is podcasting, I have this passion for learning, for having deep conversations like we're going to have on this episode, having soulful conversations with my guests, getting to the root of issues, getting to learn from other people's experiences, has been something that has been driving me for years, like from being at home with my parents, learning from their experiences, learning from adults, that have experienced more than I have. I have this belief that I won't be able to experience everything all. I don't want to make I don't want to make too much mistakes. I mean, we all make mistakes, but I believe that I can always learn from other people's mistakes and experiences. And once I learn from them, I don't have to make the same mistakes. I could, save myself from the pain, the stress of going through those same experiences or making the same mistakes. So that's what inspired me to also start the Mirror Talk Soulful Conversations podcast that I host. So I see myself as an engineer by day, a podcaster at night. Yeah, I've trying my best to have a round life in career and also in every other area of my life.
Oh, that's incredible. That's a huge difference being a podcaster and an engineer. For
Yeah.
me, I study business, and so it's not really that far, but for an engineer, it's incredible that you're doing both. And I also love the capability of learning, right? And you said something that's very intriguing, and it's true. We can learn from other people's mistake, right? So that we don't make the same. So it is important for us to analyze because those kind of mistakes, we can prevent them. And we just see if everybody study history, I think we will not be making the same mistake again and again because it's just continuing. It is a cycle. It's like most of human history, we don't learn, right? We do the same thing. So we can
Yeah.
learn from other people's mistakes. We can also make mistakes, and that's completely normal because we're humans, right? But just learning from them so that we don't commit the same mistake twice. It's like the people here in the United States here say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, right? So
Yes.
it's just that learning, and I love learning too. I'm actually getting more into reading, so that's for me something that I'm trying to learn because I'm not much of a reader, right? I love listening to podcasts, watching podcasts, learning, but reading, even though it's one of the things that you should do, for me, it's not. It doesn't come natural, but at least I'm trying, and that's the thing that we all go through. Now we learn. So, Toby, I wanted to ask you. And this is the first question on the podcast. What has there been a time that you felt like you were at rock bottom, that you didn't see the light of day, you didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel?
Yes, I would say when I moved to Germany, I won't say I'm maybe not rock bottom, but I was almost at that point basically in my life. Um, yeah, okay, also say rock bottom because I came here. I mean, back at home, my parents provided, for everything that I had to use for life, paid for my education, feeding and everything. But then I moved to Germany. I mean, they sponsored me also, like, gave me money to come here. But then I think one of the biggest thing for me was fear that my parents will not be able to afford, you know, the tuition fee, when you compare Nigeria to Germany, the conversion rate of the currency, it's like a big difference. And it's quite expensive when you convert it to Naira, which is the currency that we use in Nigeria. So at that point in my life, I was so much afraid that what will happen if my parents are not able to afford me being here. So I had to, pick up a lot of manual labor, like, working a lot of shifts, trying to keep up with school, trying to integrate with the system, trying to find myself again because I was in a country where, they speak German in Germany. I didn't learn the language before coming. I had to learn the language, but the language is not that easy to learn also. And to go around about my everyday, I could not really be myself or express myself like I used to some months ago. So I would say at that point I was emotionally, physically at my rock bottom because I was like, what am I doing here? I was questioning everything. And you have people looking at you because your skin color, very conservative small village where I landed for my schooling, for my university. You have people watching you, looking at you in some ways, and you feel like, what is wrong with me? You understand? So that, played a lot of roles on, the way I thought about myself also, the way I saw myself at that point. So emotionally, I was at rock bottom. Spiritually, I was at rock bottom. Physically, I was at rock bottom. Every area of life. And in terms of, oh my God, if this money finishes, where would the next one come from? Financially, I felt at rock bottom too. So at that point, I was feeling exhausted in my life, I would say, and overstressed basically for nothing, for a lot of things. Everything mixed up together. That was the rock bottom moment I can remember right now. Yeah.
And I know that, knowing from firsthand, I also migrated to a new country, right? Immigration is tough, right? Because you have to go into another culture. Sometimes you learn a new language, right? I learn English, you have to learn German, right? So I think those situations, in my mind, make us stronger. And I think they did for you too, right? Even though you say, okay, what's happening to me? I used to have the support of my family, but now I'm in Germany alone, right? And I totally get it because I was there at rock bottom too. Not because of migration, but I know that you feel hopeless. And sometimes you're not hopeful, but you don't see a way out.
Yes.
You're there. But analyzing that and knowing, okay, I can overcome this. And I wanted to ask, what made you, at what point did you say, okay, I know I'm here, I had a lot of doubts, but I'm going to continue forward and I'm going to move into my life and I'm going to learn from this and overcome this and be a better person?
That's a wonderful question. I think the point in my life where I it all turned around for me was basically, I would say, learning from people ahead of me, like learning from examples, getting, I won't say they were not mentors to me, but like role models in terms of them also going through the same journey. People that have walked the same path like you walked, and you see them at the end of the tunnel in the lights, basically, and you are still at at the beginning of the tunnel in the dark. So having to hear the stories of those people was like a turning point for me. Gave me hope that it is possible for me also, to go through that struggle and to come out stronger. Adding to that, then giving up my 100% hope in my parents and putting it all into God also helped me to say, God is all powerful, in my belief. And if my parents are not able to provide for me today, God is going to provide someone else that will provide for me, or God Himself will provide for me. I don't have to rely on my parents. Once I was able to learn that, and I got that assurance in my spirit that God will use my parents to take care of me, and if not, He's going to surely take care of me in one way or the other. Once I was able to learn that, I started to see the light of day again, and I became stronger. Like, yes, I can pull through. You understand? I can wake up tomorrow, and I don't have to be afraid or scared of where food will come from for the day, basically. So those are like the things that And also the my desired state for the future gave me up to pull through also. Like I said to myself that, okay, I came to Germany. I was not forced to. I came there here because I wanted to learn, because Germany is, advanced in terms of technology, has a better schooling system for what I came to learn. And I saw myself, graduating. I saw myself, getting a degree, getting a good job, even before coming. So every day, I started to remind myself every day about this. Where do I see myself in the next 3 years? I see myself as a graduate with a bachelor degree at that point, you know. So having that reminder every day helped me to pull through, got me stronger, and then I came out of, that rope.
No, and I think in everybody's journey, we have someone that has a big influence. And I think you said, and it's pretty important. You said you look to people that are ahead of you, right?
Yes.
And make you learn from that, right? And that's the the good thing about this actually is that we're sharing our thoughts here in this podcast, and you share yours in your podcast, right? So it's like people are hearing us, and that's my goal, to grab people and say, okay, I went through this, right? This is what I learned. Here's my knowledge, right? Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, was there a big, like a person or someone that you read that had a big influence on you in that time?
But yeah, it's someone that that I used to follow. I still follow, and the person happened to be Oprah, Oprah Winfrey. Yeah, I did. I mean, I think I started watching her on YouTube at that point, and then I listened to her story. I mean, not we don't have the similar story. I mean, but I mean, she also went through her own hardship, and I believe, I mean, hard, the way we experience life could be different, but the story at the end, or the lessons at the end could be the same thing. Like, I went through hardship. You probably went through a lot of hardship too, but how you come out of it and what you did to come out of it could be a tool that we could learn from each other. You know, I got to find out about Oprah. I learned from her story, was following her journey, you watching her life story basically unfold over the years. That gave me like, a kind of motivation, a push. I mean, from afar, like, yeah, this woman, a Black American, went through all of these things, this hardship. I don't think I'm going through half of them. And she's able to pull through. I can do it also. I can, you know, make something out of my life too. I could make a meaning, a powerful meaning out of my life.
No, that's incredible. For me, I actually put a lot of faith also in God. But if I were to point out at one person that helped me in my journey, was Tony Robbins. I don't know if you have heard of him.
Yeah, I know what I'm talking about.
He was one that really helped me push forward. I actually started reading the Bible. So for me, that was really important for me, having faith, having that person tell me, okay, realize how many good things you have in your life. And then you're going to then go, okay, how blessed am I of living this life? Because you're in Germany, you have the capability of doing a podcast, of being an engineer, of studying, of learning. But realize how many people don't have that. You have your family. I have mine. We every time you grab your phone and you see your mom or your dad calling, that's a blessing.
Mm,
He
yeah,
made me realize all of it. I read his book. It was nothing about philosophically. It was more about investing. But he is more into like being grateful, and I started to practice what he did. Right now I can't remember the name of the exercise he did, but it was just realizing how grateful you have to be and the importance on that. And he helped me a lot in my journey, overcoming my storms. And I actually went through 8 surgeries. That was my hardships. I went through something called Crohn's disease. They had to remove my whole colon at the end. And then it was a 3-year long journey that hasn't ended yet. Hopefully it ended, but we don't know. Like God willing, it did. But those hardships is what make us into what we are today, right? Oprah Winfrey. If Oprah didn't go through what she did, and she didn't learn from it, would you think she would be in the place that she is today? No, it
I
is
don't think so.
impossible. It is impossible because in that hardship, she learned, okay, I learned this and I'm going to share my story with people. And she became Oprah Winfrey that we know today. Right. And it is important to have that person to help you understand that you're in a place right now that is hard. But if you really think about it and you push yourself, you're going to be in a place in the future that's way better. I don't know if you agree on that.
Yeah, I do agree on that. Like, having these kind of people in your life, and I'm happy you brought up, reading the Bible too, because that helped me a lot too. So it opens your mind up to the possibilities. It helps you to dream big. When you read about the Word of God, I mean, what God used the people in the Bible, what He did through their lives, what He did, the miraculous things He did through their lives, even looking at the story of the Israelites, the hardship they went through, and the victory they enjoyed at the end. Looking at the lives of individual, prophets or people that God used mightily in the Bible. See that they went through, for example, Moses. Well, of course, he was in the palace with Pharaoh for a long time, but he went through 40 years of, training, going through hardship. But at the end of the day, he was able to do something magnificent that we're still talking about today. Talking about David before he became a king, talking about, a lot of people, a lot of story examples. Stories motivate you. They show you that, yes, you are going through your hardship. These people also went through their hardship, but you see them coming out. That means it's possible for you also to come out of your hardship. And, that gives you hope. And then, okay, now you're out of the hardship. Now there's a possibility for you to achieve even something greater than you are dreaming about for yourself. And there's possibility for you to be more, to do more because of the backing that you have from God and from the people's story that you've listened to. It gives you that push, um that hope that you need. Yes. And also opens your mind up to that possibility. I think that's the most important thing, to be informed that you can be more than what you are or who you are today, or even more than what you dream about. You can be more than that. Having that information locked in your brain, it does a lot.
No, and if you're struggling and you hear this podcast right now, I want to tell you, right, that in a hardship, there's going to be, everybody has a hardship. The millionaires, the billionaires, the poor, the mid class, everybody has their struggles, right? But it's not the struggles that define us. I believe what defines us is what we do when we are at rock bottom, right? You decided, okay, I'm going to open my mind to God. I'm going to keep following my dream. I'm going to keep pushing. When I was at rock bottom in the hospital, I decided not to quit. And I decided that I could do more. In our struggles, yes, they're hard. But knowing that you can overcome them and knowing that if in that struggles is when you learn the most and you can become a better future self is what's gonna push you to go forward. It's not your story today. It's what you can do today to be the person in the future. That's what I think about when we are going through struggles. Because if we realize, okay, I'm going to this, to this, to that, to that, to that, and no focus on what I can do, what we can do, we're gonna stay there, right? Because we're not
Yeah,
finding a solution. We're stuck in the
that's
problem.
true. Yeah, that's very true. If I could add to that a bit, to maybe to elaborate on it a little bit. Earlier in my life, I always thought you go through a kind of hardship for a short period of time, a struggle for a short period of time, and yeah, you stay fervent, you pray, you hope, you pull through, and once you get out of it, your life is going to be rosy for the rest of your life. It's going to be beautiful. I've gotten to learn that that's not true. You have different phases in your life where you have hardship. As in, as you go higher in life, you face different, struggles in life, basically. Like, yeah, so, I mean, even in nature, for a tree to grow, it has to go through a lot of struggle. Even, from whence the seed coming out of the soil, it has to break through, the earth, break through the soil to sprout out. And then, growing, it has to struggle to get water, struggle to get, sunlight, to get its roots firm in the ground, bringing out the branches, bringing out the leaves. It has to struggle to stay alive, by shedding some leaves when it's snowy, or when it's cold. It has to shed some leaves, for example, to ensure that it's survives the winter period, and once it's spring again, it brings out its leaf. What am I trying to say? In every phase of our lives, we have struggles, we have hardships that we go through, and they're just a part. They're just a part of life. In essence, this is what I've learned to make us stronger, to help us, to prepare us for the next level of our lives, for the next phase, for the next, chapter of our lives, basically. Once we're able to embrace that, then I believe once we notice hardship coming, we'll be able to joyfully, with gratitude, embrace it. That is very counterintuitive, but I mean, we'll be prepared for it, basically. Be prepared for it. I know that this is not going to be forever. This too shall pass, is what I tell myself. When I'm facing some kind of struggle or hardship, I'm like, okay, ship number 102, this too shall pass. Yeah. Then, just label it at ship number 95, this too shall pass. Yes.
No, and I say to people, and I believe I wrote it in my book. I'm finished writing my book.
Awesome.
So I tell people, when you overcome a storm, you learn from that storm, another one is coming. Right? And you're going to learn from that storm, and next one's coming. But each time, you are better as a person, as an individual, because you learn. It's all about learning. Tony Robbins said, easy times create weak people. Weak people create hard times. Hard times create strong people. Strong people create easy times. It's all about a cycle. Life is all about a cycle. You get out of one storm, another one comes. You get another one, and another one comes, and it makes you stronger and stronger and stronger. But it's all about staying focused on knowing, how can I get better, right? Because you said struggle number 102, right? Doesn't matter the number. You have to realize, I'm stronger than this. I'm gonna come out forward. I'm gonna come out stronger. I'm gonna come out being another person that the previous one will be jealous of, right? Me right now, I would probably be weaker than me in 5 years. That's normally what happens. And I tell people, in 2022, when I went through my first surgery, right? I tell people, if I were to go back and I can change it, I wouldn't, because I'm 100% better today than I was before, right? Even though if you go, okay, 8 surgeries is a lot, right? People, I know people have gone through more, but 8 surgeries is a lot to go through. But I wouldn't take those for the world, because I learned a lot of things. If I didn't go through those 8 surgeries, I wouldn't be doing the podcast here with you. If I didn't go through those surgeries, I wouldn't be writing my book that hopefully comes out next year, right? So all the hard times prepare you for now, right? And you're gonna realize later, wow, now I'm 100% better now than I was before. And when you're going through the struggles, it doesn't look that way. It only looks like, okay, I'm in a problem, I don't know how to get out. But once you find a solution and you become a better version of yourself, that's when you win. That's when you win as a person.
That's very true.
I wanted to move forward to the next question. I know that you previously talked about your podcast. So can you please tell the audience more about your podcast and what is it about and where can they find it?
Thank you so much. So the name of the podcast is called Mirror Talk Soulful Conversations, and it can be found on every podcast platform: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, on YouTube also. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, you'll find Mirror Talk Soulful Conversations. So the podcast is all about soulful conversations. Like, it started 5 years ago. I was just having this urge, this emptiness deep inside of me. Like, I was climbing up the career ladder, but I just felt like I was not fulfilled in terms of other areas of my life. I wanted to grow in faith. I wanted to grow, in experience. I wanted to grow in, in relationship with myself, with other people. I wanted to learn more about myself. I just wanted to grow, in every other area of my life apart from career. I started out as having that curiosity, hunger, to learn from other people, to learn from experts in lives, to learn from people that, are older, people that have gone through other journeys in their lives, people that have gone through things that I would not be able to experience ever in my life. to learn from them, gather the tools, the equipment that they used, to come through or to go through their journeys in life, and use that, to improve my life. And at the same time, share this knowledge with other people out there who are willing, to listen, who are also on that journey to improve their lives. So that's what gave birth to the podcast. It's all about having conversations with people, which helps me, helps the listeners also to reflect, like you standing in front of the mirror and seeing yourself for who you truly are. And once you're able to see yourself as who you truly are, you're able to then see what you need to fix, or what you need to improve on, or even what you need to appreciate about yourself, because that's something that's very important. And you mentioned that earlier, gratitude, like looking at yourself in the mirror, even through other people's story, and saying, wow, Daniel, I look so handsome. I love this part of my body. These scars from the surgery, they're beautiful. They look wonderful on my body. You understand? Appreciating yourself for who you are, what you've gone through. You know, that's what the conversations that we have on the podcast, generates. And that's why our tagline is, pause, take a break, and reflect on life. Because, a lot of, well, we're living in a very fast paced world. Everything has to be fast, everything has to be quick, it has to be time efficient. But if we don't take the time to pause and to really reflect on what we've done so far in life, you know, have mirrors that show back ourselves to us, through the stories that we listen to, through the conversations that we have, we won't be able to know what to do to improve and to become better in our lives. And so that's why we, say pause, take a break, and reflect on life. Because if you don't reflect on life, you don't know what to do to have a even much more better life, or to become the better version of yourself.
I think pausing is one of the things that we don't do. We stay always on the run. We're always doing something, right? And I tell people, hey, I'm the first one that does this, right? I go through my morning and I go to listen music. I'm doing my stuff, but we have to take a moment and pause and realize. And I think that's what you did too. You you were studying and you said, okay, I feel something empty. I feel that something is missing, right? And that's when I think you decided to do the podcast, right?
Yes,
If you didn't go through pausing and saying, okay, I'm doing this, but it's leaving a empty space in my heart. I feel like something's off. Those are the moments that take us from being take us out of the routine, right? And we go through analyzing what is our purpose, right? If I didn't analyze what I wanted to do, I wouldn't be doing this podcast. You wouldn't be doing your podcast. So we have to take those moments and take them, analyze them, because if we ignore them and we keep going and we keep going, that space is going to be bigger each time. The empty space is going to be bigger. So I think it's very important what you said. Taking a pause, reflect, looking at yourself in the mirror. What do I need to do better? How can I do it? Right? Those things are very important in life. When you're going through a struggle, same thing. If you don't take a pause and say, okay, I'm going through this, but I know I can get out. What is a way that I can get out, right? Those are the moments of reflection that I think is very important for people to do that. And I will encourage the people listen to the podcast to go and watch yours, right? Because each experience will hit us differently. That's why I'm having a different guest, because I know everybody has a different story to share. And it wouldn't, let me put it this way. Not all of the stories will hit with each single one person, but I know one will. Your story will hit with another person, right? And those are the stories that matter, because they say, okay, he went through this and he got out. I can get out too. So those moments of reflections are important, and I think we take those for granted, and we all go through life in a cycle of repeating the routine of being out and not taking time for yourself. So,
very true.
what was the biggest takeaway in your journey?
So I didn't get that. What do you say?
What was the biggest takeaway in your journey? Like from going to Nigeria to Germany, from studying in the university and then starting your own podcast. What was the biggest takeaway in that?
Yeah, my biggest takeaway is that I'm a work in progress. That's my biggest takeaway. That should never ever think that I have arrived, because every day of my life is an opportunity for me. Every day that I'm blessed with, every breath I'm blessed with, an opportunity for me to learn and to improve my life. And the more I learn, the more I improve my life, the more I'm able to, you know, learn from, hardships or struggles, the better I become and the more I'm able to do. So I'm a work in progress. I'm always learning. I keep on moving.
No, that's a great answer, and we all are. We all are walking in this earth, and we are learning in the progress. And I think the people in this podcast are glad they're listening to you and say, okay, he's right in what he's saying, right? And learn from your mistakes. I think if we were to break down the biggest takeaway in this podcast is to learn from your mistakes, right? Learn from them, become a better person of yourself so that you don't make the same mistake as other people do,
That's true.
right? And I hope that in the future we're able to collaborate more. I'm more than glad to come into your podcast if you want to, right? And
Yeah.
keep sharing knowledge, right? Because like you said, I actually love learning too. So I learn from you, you learn from me, we learn from others, right? And
Yes.
everybody has a place in your heart. And sharing knowledge is something that we all should do,
Yeah.
right? In the moments before philosophy, I think a lot of people don't take philosophy seriously, and they should. Right? Philosophy has been there for years, thousands of years, right? And when I look at them, and I read, for example, Aristotle, Socrates, right? I'm like, oh, wow, these people had it figured out 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So it is important to keep learning. If you're not into reading, find somehow in some way to keep learning. Because we're all, like you said, we are a walk in progress.
Yes.
So I think, and I want to thank you for being here and for sharing your story, for being here, having this conversation with me. Because I know that somebody out there will listen to this podcast and will be, okay, I'm gonna take time to reflect, and now I'm gonna get out of my struggle because I know if they did, I'm able to. Right? Everybody's able to. It's just deciding, having that point of decision and saying, I can do it. I'm going to start now.
Yes. The best
Before
time
you
to start
go,
is right now. Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just repeating what you said. Like, the best time to start is right now. You can always start right now.
Yes, I think that's very important. And before we go, what would you like to say to the person hearing this podcast? It's all yours.
But yes. So, to the dear listener who is listening to this podcast episode, I'd like to remind you that you are important, and you are on this planet, on this earth, for a purpose. And you are here on purpose. So, there's a reason why you are created. There's a reason why you are placed here, and you are not yet done fulfilling that purpose of yours. So do not give up on life. Do not give up on yourself because of what you're going through right now. You will surely come out of the gray into the light, and you fulfill your purpose. Just like this podcast is, you would surely come out of the gray, and you fulfill your purpose, and you will live a beautiful life, a peaceful life, a very wonderful, happy life. Just keep on pushing, keep on hoping, and keep on believing in yourself, and most importantly, in God. You can do it.
Thank you so much for those kind words, and I hope that everybody likes the podcast. So please, everybody, thank you so much for listening here. Thank you, Toby, for being here. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this podcast with the people that you love, so that we keep sharing knowledge and that we keep sharing our stories, so that we become better each day. And thank you so much for being here. God bless you all, and take care of each other.